Welcome back to the Midnight Narrator. In tonight's story, we delve into the realms of strange transformations, family secrets, and the burden of choices that can change everything. This is The Stabilizer, a tale that challenges the boundaries of belief and trust. Are you ready to explore what happens when reality is twisted by a biological anomaly? Prepare yourself for the dark unknown. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep your mind open. Let the story begin. I hadn't seen Elias in years. It had been nearly 15 since I'd last seen him. My clearest memory was of him leaving our apartment when I was 8. I was building a model airplane. I looked up to see Elias silhouetted in the doorway, wearing his worn leather jacket, his head bowed as he quietly closed the door behind him. My grandmother was seated on the nearby chair, her hands clasped tightly in her lap, her expression a mixture of sadness and resolve. I'd never seen her look so defeated. I approached her and sat beside her, feeling a sense of confusion and unease. "Where did he go?" I asked softly. My grandmother looked at me, her eyes filled with a weary sadness. "He had to go away, Leo. He won't be coming back," she explained gently. The separation was never officially formalized. He simply vanished. I recall my grandmother making inquiries, contacting distant relatives, but there were no answers. Years passed. My grandmother became my primary caregiver. I eventually pursued a career in engineering. Life continued, but the absence of Elias remained a constant undercurrent. I occasionally thought of him, wondering about his life. Then, a letter arrived. I was at my office reviewing blueprints when the unusual stationery caught my eye. "Is this Leo Vance, from Cedar Ridge? If so, I believe I am your progenitor. I have been attempting to locate you." I stared at the letter, a wave of disbelief washing over me. I placed it on my desk, then picked it up again to reread it. While I was still processing this, another letter arrived the following day. "Leo, I understand this is difficult to accept. I must explain everything in person. Please agree to a meeting." My initial reaction was skepticism. I suspected a hoax, someone attempting to exploit my past. I eventually responded by traditional mail. "How can I be certain of your identity?" I awaited a reply. My heart pounded with anticipation and apprehension. If this was truly him, I had complex emotions to confront. A third letter arrived a week later. "I understand your hesitation. When you were young, you had a pet hamster named Nibbles who escaped his enclosure. You also kept a collection of polished stones. Please, Leo, this is urgent. I must meet with you." I stared at the letter. I considered my options. Should I ignore him? Agree to meet? I chose a cautious approach. "I require time to consider this. I will contact you with my decision." Returning to my work provided a much-needed distraction. At home, I sat at my kitchen table, the letters spread before me. I reread the correspondence. I could simply disregard it. But I eventually responded by sending a brief message by secure online messaging service. Curiosity was too strong. "Why is a meeting necessary? If you have something to convey, please write it." His reply came quickly. "Leo, I'm relieved you've responded. I feared I'd lost you. I must explain this in person. I promise, if you wish, this will be our only encounter." I placed my device on the table, feeling overwhelmed. The next morning, I received a call. It was Elias. His voice was older, but I recognized it instantly. He explained that he had been living in seclusion, researching something he called the shift, a condition that ran in his family. He explained it was a biological anomaly that manifested under specific lunar conditions. He insisted on meeting in a remote location, a secluded observatory outside the city. He said it was crucial for my safety and his. At the observatory, Elias looked older, more weathered. He didn't offer a hug, which I appreciated. The observatory was Spartan, filled with astronomical equipment. "Your grandmother knows," he said quietly. "She kept it from you to protect you." I felt a surge of anger. The obvious explanation was some form of mental instability. If you brought me here for some delusion, save it, I said. He looked at me with pleading eyes. It's real, Leo. I can show you, he said. He led me outside to a clearing beneath the night sky. The moon was full. He explained that the shift was a transformation, a change in his physical form. He said it was triggered by the lunar cycle. He showed me scars. Old wounds, he said, were inflicted during these transformations. If I don't control it, he said, his voice strained, the beast inside will take over completely. It will hunt. It will kill. It will become something I can't even recognize. I remained skeptical. But then, as the moon bathed the clearing in its light, something began to change. His bones shifted beneath his skin, his limbs elongating, his hands twisting into clawed paws. His face elongated into a snout, his eyes glowing with an eerie, predatory light. He was no longer human, but something else entirely, something ancient and terrifying. I was terrified, but also strangely fascinated. This was not delusion. This was real. He did not attack me. He seemed to be in control, but barely. He pleaded with me. He said there was only one way to control the shift, a device he had constructed using rare earth elements. But it required a specific activation sequence, one that could only be performed by a blood relative, someone who trusted him. The device, a complex array of metal and crystal, hummed with a low, almost imperceptible thrum. Wires snaked across its surface, connecting to various nodes and resonators. At its center, a large, multifaceted crystal pulsed with a faint inner light. He asked me to help him. I stared at the device. I didn't know what to do. He looked at me, his eyes filled with a desperate plea. Please, Leo, it's the only way. If I don't control it, the beast will be unleashed on the world. I looked from him to the device, then back to him. The transformation was receding, his features returning to normal, leaving behind only the lingering scent of damp earth and something animalistic. I made a choice. I approached the device. I studied the sequence he had shown me. My hands trembled as I began to input the code. The device hummed to life, the crystal at its center glowing brighter, emitting a low hum that resonated deep in my chest. I saw veins of light spread across Elias's body as the energy connected with him. He gasped, clutching his chest. He staggered back, then fell to his knees. He didn't transform again. He remained human. But he was still. I rushed to his side. He was unresponsive. I checked for a pulse. There was none. He was gone. I stood there, in the moonlight, beside the device and the body of the man who was my progenitor. A single tear traced a path down my cheek. I didn't call anyone. What could I say? How could I explain? I left the observatory, the device still humming softly. I drove home in a daze, the weight of what I'd done pressing down on me like a physical burden. The next morning I received a message. It was a single word: stable. And that concludes tonight's chilling narrative, The Stabilizer. A story about the cost of helping a family member and the consequences of a decision made in the heat of fear. What would you have done if faced with the same impossible choice? Share your thoughts below. And remember, sometimes the things we do to keep the darkness at bay only make it stronger. If you've been captivated by tonight's tale, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more. This is the Midnight Narrator signing off. Until next time, keep your curiosity alive, and beware the things that lie in wait.